Welcome back to the channel. Right, bear in mind with what I'm about to say that this is being recorded last Sunday. I did the Sunday service and then I recorded ahead of time today's video, which you are now watching on Saturday the 9th of September-ish. You've all been saying basically that you like the new format, half an hour on a Saturday, half an hour on a Sunday. I thought it was working really well. I still think it works really well, but it is really confusing from this end, because what I've got basically is two sets of notes, one for the Sunday service and one for the Saturday review. And obviously throughout the week I have to cut and paste comments, all the bits and pieces from the Sunday service video and put them in the Sunday service notes, and then I have to do the same with the Saturday review notes. And to be honest, it's getting just a little bit confusing, and I think it's confusing certain people on your side as well. Guy, I think you mentioned something last week about the schedule and not being sure what's what with it. On the surface of it, one on a Saturday and one on a Sunday is a brilliant idea, but it is so confusing from this side. Case in point, I mentioned this last week. You see, I have trouble remembering where I am with this, but I mentioned The Godfather, and I also mentioned that I couldn't find the comments or the post. And I've gone on to the Saturday review notes for next week or today, and they're in there, and it's like I can't, this is rubbish. So please understand this. What I'm going to try, and hopefully this will be the last time I mess about with this, would you guys have any objection to having an hour-long episode, or possibly more, I don't know, an hour-long episode on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. And no Sunday service as such? I'm not saying I won't do a video on a Sunday. I'm just saying it'll probably be a shorter one. Maybe I could dedicate Sundays to the TV thread that's running at the moment and a couple of other bits. Just a shorter video. It would just make it easier for me if I've got one set of notes, one set of bullet points in order all the way down, and I wasn't referring to two different videos. You can see how confusing that would be from this side. As I say, on the surface it works perfectly well, but from this side, I mean, back there I've got last week's, today's, see what I mean? Sunday service processing at the moment, which will upload to YouTube in about probably 1, maybe 2 hours. You would basically do away with all that. You would not have this, you know, sort of dropping on YouTube some mornings on at 10 o'clock, some at 12. I think in the past it's gone on at 6 and 10 o'clock at night. You'd do away with all that. You would just have the one video on the Saturday morning with everything in it, all the comments in order. Because at the moment, as much as it seems a good idea, it's just a complete jumble to me. It's all over the damn place. So would you guys have any objection to me giving that a go? This Saturday review that I'm recording now will drop at 8 a.m. next Saturday. And obviously there won't be a Sunday service, because what I will do is I will record 2 half-hour segments for the following Saturday, cobble them together, call it an hour-long thing, and just basically stick with the Saturday review title. Would you guys have any objection if I give that a go, just to see if it makes it any easier? Because as I say, I've got notes and bits and pieces everywhere. I've got DVDs and Blu-rays, and I've got a pile of them here, and I can't for the life of me remember what I've actually done and what I haven't. I'm just going to have to hope this goes right. But I'm going to try that from next week. So you'll get this next Saturday. You won't get a Sunday service, but what you will get the week after is an hour-long video and maybe a little something to do with the TV channel on a Sunday. A shorter video, but just something. So would you mind if I give that a go? Comments below, please. And I'm really sorry for messing about with it again. But if you could see what I can see at the moment, I've just got 2 sets of notes and they are literally all over the place. So I'm going to have to hope this works all right. Let's see. I'll start with comments on last Saturday's video. Steve Matt, Ruth Gordon. We were talking about Ruth Gordon, was nominated for an Oscar for her role in Harold and Maude. I didn't realise that. And of course was one of the neighbours in Rosemary's Baby and won the Oscar in 1969 for that. I didn't know that either. I think she's amazing. I love her accent. I love the way she talks. I wanted to know more about her, which is why I bought the autobiography, which I've got on the notes here. Show the autobiography. I did that last week. This is where it gets confusing. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. It's a really old book. I showed it off last week. I just found myself wanting to know more about her. I read a few bits on Wikipedia. There's not much in there, but she sounds a fascinating lady. So I'm looking forward to having a read of that book and seeing what there is to her rather than... I mean, I only know her from Rosemary's Baby and Harold and Maude. They're the only 2 movies that I know her from. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about her. Rick. The new format is great. 8 AM is fine. If it's too early for some folks, they can catch it later. On the subject of A Clockwork Orange, I could never get into it. Just one of those films that I couldn't get on with. It's not everybody's cup of tea, Rick. It really isn't. My story with Clockwork Orange is, obviously I couldn't see it when it first came out because I'd only have been like 9 years old. But as the years went on, especially at school, I read about the controversy surrounding it. Couldn't get many details. Obviously this was before you could just log onto the internet and find out everything that you needed to know about a movie. But I picked up various movie magazines that had got sort of articles about it. Became absolutely fascinated with the whole idea of the movie. Couldn't wait to see it. And then it promptly got banned. So I never got a chance. I don't think it was available on VHS or anything like that. I imported a copy, believe it or not, a VHS copy from Paris. The quality of it was truly atrocious, really, really bad. But I watched it and I enjoyed it. Then I think it got released on DVD and I bought a copy of it, watched it in proper quality and absolutely loved every second of it. I do remember thinking, my God, this is bizarre. And then I realised obviously that it was Stanley Kubrick, the guy who did 2001 A Space Odyssey. So being bizarre is pretty much what he does. But yeah, I've loved it ever since. I love the soundtrack. I think Malcolm McDowell's performance in that is absolutely brilliant. I've seen it several times and I will see it several more times. It's just a movie I love, and it is. But I do get that it's not everybody's cup of char. So yeah, I quite get that. Mike, the real Fifth Beatle, pre-recorded videos are a nightmare. That's why I live stream. They are a nightmare. As you've heard with the first 3-4 minutes of this, I am desperately trying to get this right and into a format that I can get on with and that you guys can get on with. And it's not quite there yet. It's not far off. I think this will probably be the one that I stick with. Doing it all the recording on a Sunday morning, then I can cobble it together and upload it to YouTube at my leisure throughout the week to drop at 8 AM, and none of this starting at 8 AM one week and 12 the next and 6 the next, all that. So yeah, pre-recorded videos, they are an absolute nightmare, mate. I wouldn't recommend anybody giving it a try. What I tried, definitely not. It is just, no, it's not the best. And I can see why you live stream. That's a pool that I've not dipped my toe in yet. I do keep getting asked to do this live one week, and I've not been brave enough to do it yet. But at some point, I dare say I'll give it a go. But yeah, you're right. Pre-recorded videos are a bloody nightmare. Scott, excellent video, Tony. Loved it, mate. Thanks, Scott. Awesome soundtracks there. I agree. The 70s had some fantastic soundtracks. The Crow is a great film. Hope you enjoy it. Looking forward to watching that. It's Callie and Guy that got me into that one. I have no idea. I've got a rough idea of what it's about. It's some kind of a comic book adaptation. and it's to do with vigilantes, that kind of thing. But yeah, looking forward to it. And obviously, I know the controversy that surrounded Brandon Lee getting shot accidentally on the set of the film. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having a look at that. And when I've watched it, I'll let you all know what I think of it. But I watched the trailer a couple of nights ago, and I got to admit it looks good, and I get the feeling it's going to be one of those movies that I'm going to look at and think, why is it taking you 20, 30 years to catch up with this when everybody's been telling you how brilliant it is? So yeah, I'll let you know when I've actually watched that one, mate. Let's see. Oh, you're still watching the Carry On films. Just finished watching the third film, Carry On Teacher. Really enjoyed this one. Actually slightly preferred it over Carry On Nurse. Oh, that's a controversial one. I just found this one a little more memorable and funny. Looking forward to watching Carry On Constable. Heard that one is hilarious. They're all brilliant. There's very few Carry On movies that you won't get on with. I think the further you get into them, as I think I said, and I think everybody agreed with me the other week, that when you get into the 70s, they start to sort of lose their appeal a little bit. When you get up to like Carry On England and, heaven forbid, Carry On Emmanuel, absolutely terrible. Carry On England I can just about cope with, but Carry On Emmanuel, I've tried to watch it 2 or 3 times and I never ever get past about the first 10-15 minutes. Maybe it's one I should have a watch of and see see if I can get through the whole thing and see what I actually think of it, but I pretty much know what I'm going to think of it. But up until about 1973, 74, you're in for a real treat, Scott. You really are. There's some absolutely brilliant ones. What you will notice is how attitudes have changed over the last 20, 30 years. Things are very different now to what they were then, and a lot of the humour that you've got in these movies, as funny as it is, absolutely would not fly today in today's woke culture. Absolutely not. But enjoy them, mate. They're brilliant. Now, this is to prove a little point. Mark, this is to do with The Godfather. Unpopular opinion. Mine is the Godfather trilogy is boring. I'd rather sell my TV than have to watch any of them again. Oh my God. Right, okay. Guy, I feel the same way, mate. Fuck all 3 of them. Like I said last week, I'm not sensing much love for this at all. Jason, I only watched the first one. I wasn't putting myself through another 2. Tony, it looks like you're going to have to find somebody to back you up. That's 3 of us that think they're shite. You see, I did this last week and didn't realise that this was on the notes for today's video. But you know my thoughts of it. I think The Godfather is just brilliant. The second one I think is a little bit overblown, but it's okay. The third one I didn't enjoy very much. I did watch it and I will watch it again. Heaven forbid they try to recreate it and do a Godfather 4 or a remake. Hopefully they wouldn't dare try. But yeah, that basically proves the point of what I was saying last week. A quick comment on Matthew Binney, Aussie VHS. Loved your nomination video, mate. My God, that's as raw as it fucking gets in it. You better all bloody vote or all bloody vote. You really went for it. I love that video, mate. Absolutely loved it. Your raw quality suits you so well. Now then, let's see. What have I got here? Yes, I've done that. Ashley McGimpsey, I've been dying to do this for ages, but coming up with answers for that question. Your top 5 worst movies. I've basically gone for 5 movies that I heard a lot about and that were basically either a crushing disappointment or a bit of a letdown. So if I just bring these across, I've got some discs here to illustrate the ones. These are not the actual movies, but you'll see what I mean as I go along. First one. No, not the 1933 original, which is absolutely superb. I'm talking about Kong Skull Island. Now, I'd heard a lot about that movie. It was one of the movies of the summer, probably 2-3 years ago. I wasn't very much into blockbusters back then. I probably still ain't now, but I've got more time for them now than I did have. But this one, everybody was talking about Kong Skull Island. It's brilliant, it's superb, the special effects are amazing. great story, blah, 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 blah. So I decided to watch it one afternoon and got about halfway through it and thought, is this honestly the movie that they're all on about? Have I got the right one? It just wasn't doing anything for me. Whether I need to watch it again or not, I don't know. I'm in no hurry to do that. But for some reason, it just wasn't doing for me what it seemed to be doing for the rest of the world. Everybody thought it was brilliant. For me, it did absolutely nothing. So that's one of mine. Next one. No, not this one. What I'm talking about here is not the original trilogy, which are just superb and brilliant. I grew up with them. What I'm talking about is the sequels, or should I say the prequel trilogy. I went to rent out The Phantom Menace, got it home, watched it, and thought, oh, is that it? Jar Jar Binks. Need I say anything more? It just wasn't working for me. I remember going to see, obviously, the original Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. They were events. They were absolutely real events. And they were all superb. Absolutely brilliant. I grew up with them. Nothing could ever top them. But I did kind of expect The Phantom Menace and the other sequels to sort of make a real vague swipe at trying to, be as good as the original trilogy, but it just wasn't working. I do need to watch them again. What I want to do is work my way through all 369 of the Star Wars movies, and also some of the series, because there's a lot of series on Disney Plus that I'm hearing good things about. The Mandalorian, Kenobi, I think was another one, or Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I do need to do it all in order. I'm quite methodical like that. I'll watch the movies from the beginning, then I'll go through like the cartoon series, the Clone Wars, that kind of thing, and work my way through to the newer series. But yeah, that prequel trilogy was, to me, a crushing disappointment. I don't know what I expected. I really don't, because there was quite a gap between Return of the Jedi and that one. I think it was about 20 years or something. So I don't know whether I expect it to be as good, but it definitely wasn't. So that's another of mine, is the prequel trilogy of the Star Wars movies. Next one, to illustrate. I absolutely adore this series. I never get bored of watching it. This is pure 60s. And when I heard that they were doing a movie version of this, my initial reaction was, my God, I hope they get it right, because this is an iconic series. I watched it, and for the first probably 10 minutes, with John Steed walking through the village with various people trying to assassinate him, some kind of a test I think it was, I thought, yeah, we're in for a treat with this. And then it just gradually got worse. It bore no resemblance whatsoever to this wonderful TV series from the 60s, again, that I grew up with. Whether again it was, me expecting too much of a movie version of a series that I loved, I don't know. But again, it just didn't work, and it did appalling business at the box office. It really didn't go down very well at all with anybody. So that's another one, is the movie version of the Avengers. Next one is this. Now, again, I adore the original 5 movies. Especially the original, but the first one, the Planet of the Apes, with Charlton Heston, Roddy McDowall, all the regular cast. I enjoyed the TV series that followed it from about 1974. So when I heard this was coming out, I thought, wow, with the special effects nowadays, that is going to be awesome. It wasn't awesome at all. It wasn't. The special effects were all right, but it had none of the magic and the feel of the original movie. I can't remember anything about this. Again, this is maybe one that I need to watch 20 years down the line and just see whether it fares any better now, but I get the feeling it won't. I mean, it had all the makings of it. You've got Mark Wahlberg, Helena Bonham Carter, Tim Roth in this. So it had the potential, basically the potential to be something really, really special. To me, it wasn't. It did not work on any level. Special effects were excellent, but as you know, it takes more than decent special effects to make a decent film. So that's number 5, Planet of the Apes from 2001. You're not going to believe this, guys. I can't believe I'm about to hold this one up. I love the original of this to the point where I've seen it so many times I could quote lines from it. I adore the movie. I adored the soundtrack. I went to see this at the cinema in 1983 and came away thinking, oh my God, what have they done? Now, as much as I enjoy this movie, it didn't work the way the original did. I'm staying alive. Saturday Night Fever, I've been through this so many times, I've lost track. I love Saturday Night Fever. I love everything about it. The soundtrack, the cast, the story, the acting, the controversial storyline, the outdated attitudes. I loved everything about it. This, as soon as I saw it was a PG certificate, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be a watered down version of the original. And it wasn't even that. Now, as much as I enjoy this, I've seen Saturday Night Fever recently, probably 3 or 4 times over the last couple of years. I haven't seen this. I don't think this has ever actually been in the machine. And I do know I do need to watch it again to see whether it's not as bad, but I don't even know what to say. As I say, I'm a huge fan of Saturday Night Fever, as you all know. But this to me was not a patch on the original. Obviously I had to have it to be the completest. And as I said last time, there was rumours of a remake in the pipeline starring Zac Efron, and I thought, oh Jesus Christ, please don't do it. This was on the back of High School Musical. He's a very different actor now. I think he could probably do quite a half decent job of portraying Tony Manero now. But back then, the mere thought of it filled me with dread. But that is my final movie, well, the final one of this particular collection of movies that were a bit of a disappointment when I actually first saw them. I could actually flip that on its head, and I'm going to do that over the next few weeks, Ashley. So thanks for that question. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do maybe 5 or 6 movies that I thought were going to be complete and utter rubbish, or movies that people have recommended me and I thought, no, definitely don't want. And I've watched them and thought, wow, that was absolutely amazing. So I'm going to do that over the next few weeks just for you, that one. So what else have I got here? Alec Bean. I don't think he posts much on the group. He's got a YouTube channel. I love his reviews, his short little punchy reviews. He has got a life that I would kill for. He works in a cinema. He's 24. He works in a cinema. He sees more movies than I could ever dream of watching. He's on there pretty much on his YouTube channel every week, holding up his ticket stub saying, been to see this with my dad and my friends. He's seen pretty much everything going. And he also does reviews of older movies. And one that I did not expect, this come completely out of the blue, but I thought, what a wonderful film to be recommending to people. The Red Balloon. I didn't see this one coming, Alec, at all. But I love this film. I've loved this film since I was a kid. It's basically about a little kid that finds a bright red balloon in the centre of Paris, and this balloon leads him all around the city. It is a brilliant snapshot of 50s Paris. It has never looked more beautiful to me, Paris, than in this movie. Maybe The 400 Blows, that was another one that highlighted Paris, or the Paris that I wanted to see. So yeah, I didn't see this one coming at all, mate. I'm really, really pleased that you highlighted this movie and have recommended it, and I highly recommend it as well. If you've not seen this, it is just superb. It's a short film, it's about 25 minutes, but it's 25 minutes of pure magic. So if you get a chance to watch that, it's called The Red Balloon, directed by Albert Lamorisse in 1950. It's early 50s, I think. I can't remember the date now. Let me just have a quick look, see if it says on here. God, these glasses are so rubbish. It doesn't say. But I'm fairly sure this is, either late 40s or early 50s, but it's a beautiful little film. If you get a chance to watch it, have a look. And Alex, thanks so much for highlighting this. It made me dig the movie out, and I'm going to have a watch of that later on, so well done on that one. Now then, 3 to go for this week, 3 for the charity shop. These are 3 movies that I've got on Blu-ray. Again, I've had them on DVD for quite a while, and I thought, you know what, it's about time I started parting with these. So first one, Al Pacino, Cruising. Really controversial back in its day, made in 1980. There were certain scenes cut out of this. It had a lot of problems with the censors on both sides of the Atlantic. Al Pacino is just superb in this, but I have actually bought the Blu-ray copy of this, so that's going to be going. Oh, 2 of my favourite movies ever from the 70s, The Stud and The Bitch. I've actually bought this on Blu-ray quite recently and watched them. Absolutely superb. I had no idea I'd still got this, so that's going to be going to the charity shop. Somebody from the Raincoat Brigade will love that. And finally, The Long Good Friday, Bob Hoskins and Helen Mirren, amongst others, in what I consider to be one of the best British gangster movies ever. I would say it's in the top 3. The only one that's any better than this, and I'm not even sure it's better, I think it's probably on a par, is Get Carter with Michael Caine. I think a double bill with The Long Good Friday and Get Carter would be one hell of an evening. So they're the 3 for this week. Series that I grew up with, very quickly. First one, I might have done this before, so if I have, forgive me. Children of the Stones. Imagine any children's sort of drama series mixed with The Wicker Man from 1971, and you've got Children of the Stones. This was really quite unnerving stuff back in its day. This was made about 1977, just about a guy and his son who do research on the standing stones of Avebury, a bit like Stonehenge, and get caught up in the mythology and the superstition of the village. It's absolutely brilliant. I've seen this so many times and I still love watching it now, but it was really unnerving stuff back in its day. And I've got another couple here, just in case I did actually mention that one before. First one, Magpie. We all know Blue Peter. Well, this was ITV's equivalent of Blue Peter. It was slightly cooler. You've got Mick Robertson, who looked a lot like Brian May from Queen at the time, with the frizzy hair and all that sort of thing. I used to love watching this. You've got sort of Magpie on at 4:45, then 5:10, you turn over to BBC One for Blue Peter. But they were basically famous for their appeals for money for sort of various different causes. But again, this was a very similar format to Blue Peter, but absolutely brilliant. And the theme song is cool. Finally, this will take you back. It might take you back further than you can actually go. Belle and Sebastian. This was from the same stable as Robinson Crusoe, White Horses, Tales from Europe, that kind of thing. The Singing Ringing Tree. You've got this one. It's a black and white French adventure drama, basically concerning a young kid and his beautiful, I don't know if it's a St Bernard dog or it's an Alpine something or other. Friendship. Well, he's a Pyrenees, a huge Pyrenees dog. Absolutely brilliant. Again, Saturday, school summer holidays, you'd have this on sort of 9:30ish, followed by Hergé's Adventures of Tintin, Banana Splits and all that sort of thing. This was one of the series that was screened regularly on summer holidays. So that's my other one. So there's loads more of these to come. I've got so many old series that we grew up with. That's going to keep going for quite a while. So right, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm coming up to half an hour. As I say, I'm going to be recording 2 half-hour segments to cobble together to make 1 hour episode for next Saturday, and I will think of something to do probably on the Sunday, just a shorter video to do with the TV channel or something like that. But I'm going to see how it works. Let me know what you think about it. I'm fairly sure that some of you are going to say something like, don't fuck with it again, oh God. But honestly, if you could see these notes from where I'm sitting, you would understand why I want to try and simplify it a little bit. It will all run a lot smoother. That's the plan anyway. So let me know what you think anyway. Thanks for joining me, guys. Have a brilliant weekend, and I will talk to you all again next week for an hour, hopefully. As I say, have a brilliant weekend and take care. Ta-da.